what I do every day to maintain my healing from chronic pain. Many years ago, I recovered from debilitating, widespread chronic pain using the approach that I'm sharing with you all on the channel. But when my pain stopped occurring, it's not like I stopped doing all of the work. And I see this as a really big mistake people make. This work, this mind-body work, it is not physiotherapy exercises, it is not chiropractic work. And what I mean by that is you're not going to just do the physiotherapy exercises, get better, no longer think about those exercises ever again. Neuroplastic pain and symptoms occur because this pattern has occurred in our life where our nervous system and brain has been stuck in a state of survival or a state of danger. So even when you get better, I highly recommend you maintain doing some of these practices. I highly recommend you come up with a bit of a daily plan. Now, I'm going to share what I do each day. There's some flexibility, so maybe everything on this list I may not be doing every single day, but most of the time I am. I'm going to share what I do, but I want to be clear, it doesn't necessarily going to be what you need to do. Everyone's brain and nervous system is different, and they need something different. I'm giving you some tips based off my own personal experience, but I know in the work that I do with clients, everyone needs something a little bit different each day. The other thing you want to do, as I said previously, is be flexible with this. What I'll see people do is they come up with 4 or 5 healing strategies or healing work that they're going to do every single day, and they're so rigid with it. But your nervous system, it needs something a bit different each day. There's probably a lot of commonality day by day, but sometimes you need something different. So even as I go through this list, please know that I'm flexible with the healing work I do every day. So make sure you're flexible too. And this process, it takes some exploring to figure out. So let's dive into my list of what I do every day to maintain my healing. Top down, brain retraining. Now I have lots of brain retraining exercises on this channel, supporting you in rewiring your brain out of chronic pain and symptoms. Now, when I was first healing, I did a lot of that work. And when I say top down, you're going brain to body. So you're working with your thoughts, you're working with your beliefs. Now, since healing, I don't focus so much on retraining my brain out of chronic pain because I don't have chronic pain anymore. But brain retraining is really effective with negative beliefs, values you have about yourself, and negative thought patterns. I'm prone to obsessive thinking, to fear thoughts, to despairing thinking. And so each morning when I wake up, I'm doing 20 minutes of top-down brain retraining work. It's really effective. I like to write it out. So I just pull up my laptop and I have a document on my laptop on why I am safe. I also have a document outlining like my goals in life, what I want to focus on. And I'm not, skewing things positively, but I'm trying to give myself more balanced ways of thinking and more balanced beliefs. So I do this for 20 minutes and then I move on. Qigong. You've probably noticed on my channel, I got lots of Qigong videos. Qigong uses slow breath, movement, attention, and sound to regulate the nervous system. Now, I use Polyvagal informed Qigong, and what I mean by that is I'm tracking my nervous system and attending to it as I'm doing the slow breathing and movement. So any fight, flight, freeze, shutdown energy I'm feeling in the morning, I'm attending to it, tracking it, and sending safety signals to myself through the slow breathing and movement. Now, you don't have to do Qigong. There's lots of ways to regulate your nervous system, but I do highly recommend that your daily practice, your daily healing work, it involves some type of regulation practice that's focused on the nervous system. Cold showers. People have a love-hate relationship potentially with cold water, cold showers. Cold showers are really effective in creating nervous system regulation. Cold showers, they help tone the vagus nerve. And what I mean by that is it makes your system more flexible. So you could go into fight or flight, or you could go into freeze or shutdown, and you can come back out with more ease. Now, Qigong does this, but I also utilize cold showers, and I've learned to love them over time. They're not super long. They're 2 to 3 minutes. So usually in the morning, I'll have one, and in the afternoon, I'll have one. So if you haven't explored this and you're not completely adverse to it, cold showers is an easy way to create regulation in your day. Co-regulation in nature. After my cold shower, I then head off super early, as you may have figured out by my list that's getting longer and longer of what I do each day. I wake up super early. I wake up at 4:30 or 5 a.m. in the morning so that I have time to do my healing work. But after my cold showers, I'm going out into nature, walking my dog, Darla. I love Darla. She's great. She's a German Shepherd cross, and she also needs to go outside and get lots of walks because she's a highly energetic dog. But I'm going for a walk in nature, co-regulating with Darla. Now, co-regulation, being in nature, it's such easy healing work to do. With the brain retraining I do first thing in the morning, the Qigong work, I'm more kind of intensely focused. I'm careful saying the word intense, but I'm more focused. In nature, when I'm going for a walk with Darla, it's kind of my free time. I really like it. Morning sunlight is really good for your nervous system, as well as being in nature. So I'm going for a 20 or 30-minute walk with her each and every day, as long as it's not minus 35, because I do live in Canada. Tracking my old coping mechanisms. Coping mechanisms. From early on in life, the way I created safety was I was perfectionistic and I was people-pleasing. These are common coping mechanisms for a lot of people with chronic pain and chronic symptoms. Now, I did a lot of work on that when I was first healing and made a lot of progress, hit and miss day by day. But these coping mechanisms, if you've lived 10, 20, 30 years with these coping mechanisms, it's really easy to slip back into them. So throughout my day, this doesn't take an excessive amount of time, but I am keeping track of my perfectionistic or people-pleasing traits. And if they're starting to take off, because I run 2 businesses, I have 2 young kids, I have a busy life, and I love my life. I'm really grateful for what I have, but I know myself well enough that the way I'll cope to create safety in my career, in my family life, is through perfectionism and people-pleasing. So I am keeping a handle on these throughout each and every day, because the odd time that I have pain now, and it's really rare, most of the time it's when these traits, these ways of coping get out of control. So I want to stay on top of them throughout the day. Lunchtime yoga. I love my lunchtime yoga. So, as I said, I have a busy work life, a busy family life, but I always take my hour lunch in the middle of the day. And at this time, I do eat some lunch, but I do yoga. And because I'm getting a lot of my regulation stuff from Qigong, my yoga is more like a power yoga. It's more like strength training, because I love moving my body. I love to be active, and this helps me stay regulated, and it helps me also process emotions throughout the day. So my lunchtime yoga, I'm doing this for 20 or 30 minutes each and every day. Some type of activity is really important to create regulation, but I know this can be hard. When I was first healing from my chronic pain, I couldn't go and do power yoga for 20 or 30 minutes. It wasn't possible. But with graded exposure that I talked about last week, I was able to work my way up to using my body in the way that I want to, and it creates a lot of freeing sensations for me that I like to lean into during it. Playtime and cuddles. So after work, I get home, I feed my kids, I hang out with them, and this is where the playtime and the cuddles take place. Lots of great co-regulation. Now you've noticed that lots of the items on this list are these really fancy, somatic practices or really fancy, healing work. But in your day-to-day life, I want to breed a life that creates safety for me. And so I have young kids. My daughter's 4 and my son just turned 7. And so I have lots of access to kids wanting to play. So we're doing all sorts of things. We're wrestling, we're having dance parties, we're, just learning about something new. My son loves to read his books. We're having this playtime, which is a great in-the-moment somatic exercise that I'm engaging in. And I make sure I try to do this each and every day with them to be, a good parent and care for my kids. But it's also for my own regulation. Now, right after that, right before bed, we kind of have a group cuddle with me and my kids. We sit in my daughter's bed usually, and we have a cuddle. We relax. We might listen to calming music. And so these are some of these in-the-moment ways that I'm doing healing work that doesn't need to be a fancy strategy. All these items on the list, it's a lot. I get that. But they're things that I like to do. Some of them are hard. Some of them take work, but they're things that I truly like to do and enjoy doing. And so it makes the healing work a lot easier. So I would recommend you pick something in your day that you actually enjoy doing that is going to create a sense of safety for your brain and nervous system, because that's going to make this a whole lot easier to maintain. And lastly, emotional processing and breath work. So after my cuddles with my kids, I have gotten into the routine that I go to my bedroom for anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. And this is where I'm processing emotions from my day. My approach, the somatic safety method, we have a very, structured way that we process emotions in that. And I'm doing some of this, whether it's with movement or non-movement. I'm processing my emotions. I like to do this at the end of the day because I found that at the beginning of the day, I usually feel pretty good and pretty relaxed, and I want to lean into that. But by the end of the day, with managing 2 companies, with busy young kids that have emotions of their own, and supporting my partner at home, there's usually some type of emotional energy that's built up. Sadness, anger, fear, guilt. There could be all sorts of things. So I'm spending 15 to 30 minutes processing my emotions. I have a step-by-step on how to process emotions that I'll link to the top and put down below that you can check out if you're confused what I mean by that. But I'm doing some of this, and then I finish off with just some breathing practices that help me stay regulated. So this is my list of what I do each and every day to maintain my healing. Again, I want to be clear, what I'm doing may not work for you. Part of the work is exploring and figuring out how can you best support a sense of safety for your brain and nervous system each day by doing certain strategies and certain healing work. That you have to explore on your own. I can't answer you for that. But the other thing, a reminder, don't be rigid about this. Make sure you're being flexible. Some days I just do nothing. It happens. And some days that's the most healing thing I can possibly do. So give yourself a day off from the healing work too. Be flexible with this. So please put your questions or comments down below. Hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.